I'm going to show you how to organize your REST requests. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Brian Watrous from VVork. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about automating, programming, and monitoring in VMware environments, you're in the right place. Start now by subscribing and click the bell so that you don't miss a thing.
This video is part 5 in a 10-part video series in which we're discussing how to make REST API calls. In this video, we'll be talking about how to organize your REST requests. In the previous video, we showed you how to locate the documentation for different REST server APIs. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to organize your REST requests. If you've been following along this video series and performing the different labs along the way, then you have a bunch of REST requests and things are probably getting a bit untidy. So let's talk about how to organize those requests using workspaces, collections, and folders. By the way, the diagram here is meant to illustrate to you that these three items and the requests that they contain are organized hierarchically. You can use workspaces to organize various things, such as collections. We already know what collections are. We'll also very soon be talking about environments. Additionally, you can use workspaces to organize your APIs, your mock servers, and monitors, but those are kind of outside the scope of what we're talking about right now. So once we leave this slide, I want you to note that workspaces can be used to organize your collections and your environments. You already know from earlier videos in this series that we can use collections to organize our REST requests. So if you're creating a bunch of REST requests and they're related to each other, you can organize them by putting them all into the same collection. We already know that. What we haven't talked about yet is the fact that these collections also allow you to run the requests in the collection. So you can run a collection. That can be quite useful. But for right now, we're not going to worry about running our collections. We're just going to think of collections as a mechanism for grouping related REST requests. Now, strictly speaking, you do not have to have a collection. You can just start creating requests in Postman, and Postman will happily let you do that. It'll happily let you send those requests. But if you want to save requests, you must have at least one collection. So again, you'll have at least one collection, and as you create more and more REST requests, chances are you're going to want to start creating additional collections so that you can organize your REST requests.
Hey Brian, excuse the interruption. Gandalf here with a note. Check out the URL in the YouTube description for all the promotions VMware Learning has available.
You can use folders to further group your REST requests. For example, if you take a look at the screenshot here, you can see I have a collection I've created called Disorganized Collection. And it's got a dozen or so different requests that are just all interspersed, splattered around, it's just a mess. But what you can do with folders is you can take a collection and further subdivide it into folders. So over here on the right, you can see I've created a collection, but within this collection, I have created folders. For example, there's a folder called Authentication, another folder called Actions, another called Packages, another called Workflows. And I've dragged individual REST requests into each of those folders. So the first two requests called Get API Token and Get Access Token, those are related to performing authentication. On the other hand, down on the bottom, Get All Workflows or Get One Workflow, those are REST requests that I'm using to look up one or more workflows on an orchestrator server. Again, by creating these folders, you can further group your requests with more granularity than just collections alone. Again, you don't have to have folders, but boy, do they help organize things. Now that we've talked about workspaces, collections, and folders, I want to introduce one other concept, which is something called environments. So far in these videos, we have not used any environments. What environments allow you to do is to group together related variables. Again, we'll be talking about variables in an upcoming video, but you probably already have an intuitive sense of what variables are going to allow you to do. With variables, you can take values, and instead of hard coding those values into your REST request, you can put the values into variables and then use those variables wherever you want within Postman. So for example, if I have a username, such as eng-ca-admin, and a password, VMware1bang, instead of hard coding these values into our REST requests, we can put those values into variables. Now we're going to get to see how environments and the variables they contain can be quite useful in some upcoming videos. But for right now, the core concept is environments allow you to collect together related variables. And then once you set up your environments, you'll be able to create REST requests like the one you can see here. And in those REST requests, you can use variables. Now, you're going to be able to spot these variables real easily in Postman. Anytime you see this open curly brace, close curly brace, something, close curly, that's a variable. So for instance, VRO-server is, where is he hiding over here? That's VRO server. So it would substitute in whatever this value is that's hiding behind here. You can use variables at the beginning of your URL. You can use variables in the middle of your URL. You can use variables at the end of your URLs. You can use variables in parameters, in authorization, in headers, in bodies, in the pre-request scripts, and your post-request scripts, also known as tests. You can use these variables all sorts of different places. So for right now, we still don't need any environments. So don't worry. We'll be talking about these environments and we'll be talking about these variables in an upcoming video. All right, so let's summarize. We learned about workspaces, collections, folders, and requests. Workspaces allow you to group together your collections and environments. Collections allow you to organize your REST requests, and you can run an entire collection and all the REST requests in it. Folders allow you to even more granularly organize your REST requests. And REST requests, those are those things that let us do gets and posts and puts and deletes and head and patch and options and so forth. Again, you already know about REST requests from the very first video in this video series. So again, you know how to create requests, and as you create more and more of those, you're going to want to use the mechanisms that we've talked about in this video to keep them organized. Join me in the next video where we're going to talk about Postman variables.